You are looking at my latest acquisition. It is an Enya 90 4-cycle engine. I happened to be searching eBay the other day and saw this and kind of went nuts. Knew I had to have it. I'd had an Enya 90 one other time before, about a year ago, and like an idiot, I sold it because I didn't figure I'd ever want it or use it again. I love the engines. They're wonderful. I mean, they're great engines. They're a little heavy, but they're nice engines. So anyway, I picked this up. This is exactly how it came. Didn't have a muffler on it. Didn't have a prop washer. No glow plug. And unfortunately, the nipple on the needle valve is missing, broken off, whatever. So there are some parts that I'm going to have to replace on this engine. When I got it, it was very stiff. It didn't turn over. I've kind of been working it since then. One thing also was that this prop nut was so torqued on here, as was this header, that I actually had to go and apply some heat and strap them into my vise and really work to get those things off. One of the nice things about this is this prop thrust washer here isn't, it's got one mark on it and that's it. Other than that, it's pristine, and that one I might even be able to polish out. So anyway, I was just gonna, as I usually do with new or used engines, I was gonna open it up and take a look at it and see if I can determine approximately how much runtime it has. I mean, there's no way to tell how old this engine is unless maybe you go by this header. This header is a newer style header, but that doesn't mean anything. People change exhausts all the time. Enya hasn't changed the design of this engine in many years, so this could be one of the originals. Who knows? I don't really know. But from what I can tell from looking inside the glow plug hole is that I don't even see any carbon buildup on the top of this piston at all. So it should be really interesting to see approximately how much runtime this thing might have on it. And I did heat this entire engine up too, just in the event that everything else was as tight. All these other fasteners, I heated them all up, and I'm hoping that's going to be enough. This one here was about to give me a little bit of a heart attack. So, a little moist in there. Some oil. Doesn't smell like anything that I put in there because I haven't been in here yet. So, both rockers. Well, it looks like we got a stuck exhaust valve. You know what that is, though. The intake valve is moving up and down. The exhaust valve or rocker is not. What that is actually in here. One of the cam followers is stuck. I'm pretty sure that's what that is, because the valve moves. It's just the cam follower is stuck. So there's obviously a little bit of work that's going to need to be done on this engine to get it in an operational condition. Let's go to this intake manifold next. Take these screws most of the way out. Let's see what we've got here. It's a little bit larger screw in here. The carb is completely frozen up too. It does look to be an all original. It has the plastic throttle arm there, and it has the little choke mechanism. So most of this looks to be original. There's our carb. One of the reasons I'm going to take this down and go through it is I need to find out exactly what all parts I'm going to need for it too. I've been in contact with Ken Enya, and I gave him a preliminary estimate of what I was going to need, the parts I was going to need. So it's going to be interesting to see how accurate that ends up being. Just break these all free and then we'll lucky so far. I haven't had any felt excessively tight and the head wanted to strip. That's always a big concern when opening up an engine of unknown age and that's already feeling really stuck. Big concern. The last thing you want to do is screw up your investment by having to drill screw heads out. At least the head's not locked on there. Okay, so let's leave the head there for a moment. Let's pull these two push rods out. I mean, look at that. These push rods look like they just came out of the factory, and they're still shiny. Next thing I need to evaluate is the rubber. See if I'm going to need new rubber for this thing. They still feel pliant. Got dried up. Should be alright. So here we go. Let's look at the top of this piston. Let me move it to top dead center here. So it's got a little bit of stuff there. Let's see if I can just wipe that. And that's not just going to be a wipe off thing. That's going to have to be soaked a bit. I wouldn't be surprised that maybe that ring's going to have to come out too. Let's see. Let's put this over here for now. Let me dump these screws out. Let's do a reveal on the valves and see what we got here. Huh, look at that. Definitely has some runtime. Intake valve looks nice and clean. Exhaust valve's got a little carbon buildup on it. I didn't see a whole lot looking through the exhaust manifold here, but a bunch of gunk in here. This thing's going to need a very thorough cleaning. There's that last screw. Take these rocker arms off. I just have little set screws here. You just run that up most of the way, and then if you're lucky, the shaft should just slide right out. Now there's a spring here that you don't want to lose. There's our rocker arms off. Shaft. Just for safekeeping, I'm going to run these screws back down a bit. So yeah, I'll be dropping the valves on this thing too. In fact, what I think I want to do right now is I think I want to drop it in some LA's Totally Awesome cleaner for a couple of minutes here. Just drop the entire head in there for about 5 minutes. Alright, so one thing I know I'm pretty much going to have to get is new gaskets, because I really like to have, you know, the right gaskets for it. And I'm pretty sure that this big paper one back here is going to be completely destroyed when I take this housing off. Looks like all four of these screws are the same size. I think it's the 46 that has a little cutout down here, and ends up having two different length screws. This will be the trick to see how easy this thing is to get off. It's not going to be easy. Let's see if I can kind of nudge it a little bit here. It kind of wants to, but there's a lot of surface tension there, a lot of surface area there holding this thing in place. I can nudge it just a hair, but you can see it wanting to move. I may have to heat this up. Actually, I can kind of rock it back and forth. Sometimes frickin' magnets are a real pain in the ass. Okay. do, I think I'll try and see if I can stick a razor blade down here. Just to kind of help guide that off. I've got another one here. This one's new and extremely sharp, so I need to be careful with that. Alright. Those two things might give me enough leverage to work this thing off. They're going to break real easy, so really just kind of trying to help break this bond that's here holding this. Like I said, I'm pretty much sure I'm going to have to replace the gasket anyway, so at this point it's all about getting this thing off and not caring about the gasket. Screwdriver I've got, I just kind of walk it back and forth, try and walk this thing off a hair. It's starting to walk off there now. I'm not prying, I'm just rotating this back and forth. So this, let's see, was on here like this. This is the exhaust. And that one's stiff as hell. Anyway, here's our timing gear, one of them. That's the exhaust gear. So here's that little gasket. It's completely destroyed, like I figured. No big deal. Oh yeah, that follower is really in there. That's the exhaust one that wasn't moving at all. This thing is such that it'll rotate and it's not touching that. So I'm going to have to oil that up, maybe even heat it up some, get it to come out. This follower is coming out. And into the totally awesome cleaner. If I can get this to move that way. No, well, that one's tight. So that one's going to have to stay for a couple minutes until I go heat that up. Hopefully that bearing will be alright and I won't have to replace that, but you never know. I may have to.